Hello YouTube, how's it going? This is the crossover and I'm back with another video. Today is going to be the second installment in my Big Board 1.0 for the 2023 NBA Draft. And in today's video, we're going to be covering picks 20 to 11. So without any further delay, let's get straight into the video. To start off part 2 of my big board, at number 20, I have Tennessee wing Julian Phillips, who will be 19 years old come draft day, stands at about 6 feet 8 inches, weighs about 200 pounds, and has a 6'11" wingspan. Now, Julian Phillips is one of the prospects I feel that is going super underrated compared to the consensus. He's a guy that I don't really see a lot of people talking about, and I just don't understand why. He's, again, 6'8", very long athlete, wiry athlete, very smooth, very quick, great off-ball player. Thrived incredibly as an off-ball player during his time last year with Link Academy, playing off ball, playing off guys like Jordan Walsh. Great cutter, not only in transition but also in the half court. And what really impresses me with Julian Phillips is just how good of a jump shot he has. Smooth mechanics, soft touch, holds his shot, gets good elevation on the shot. I think he's going to be a knockdown shooter at 6'8" for during this upcoming season, and that's just pretty rare. You don't really see too many guys his size with his athleticism be as good of a jump shooters as he is. And just with that skill set alone, I think that propels him to be a first-round pick in this year's draft class. I do have some concerns with his motor on the defensive side of the floor and stepping up at times on the offensive side of the floor, but just with the traits that he already has, I feel like Julian Phillips will be a player that will rise on a lot of people's big boards come draft day. Moving on to number 19, I have Stanford wing/forward Harrison Ingram. Now, Harrison Ingram is a player that I already made a full individual scouting report on during last year's draft process, so I'm not going to go too much in depth with him. However, he was a player that I viewed very highly, had him as a top 25 pick last year, and most of my opinions still hold the same. He's an awesome defensive piece, especially as an off-ball defensive player. Just makes a bunch of winning plays on both sides of the floor. Does a great job deflecting passing lanes, creating turnovers. Very strong rebounder for his size, 6'7", 230 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan. He does a great job battling down low with 7-footers. And he's a very good offensive rebounder as well. Great playmaker. I think he can serve as a solid secondary playmaker off the bench for whatever team drafts him. I think the shot is still a work in progress, and I feel like that's going to be the swing skill to determine where he falls in next year's draft class. However, I think Harrison Ingram is just a winning player overall, and I expect him to have a very solid sophomore campaign this upcoming season. Moving on to number 18 on my big board, I have Arkansas point guard/combo guard Anthony Black. Now, Anthony Black is a very interesting prospect to me, right? He's going to be 19 by the time the draft comes around, so very young. Stands at about 6 feet 7 inches, weighs about 195 pounds, and has a 7-foot wingspan. Anthony Black is a very interesting prospect. He's kind of like a combo/point forward. He can handle the ball, can play make. One of the smoother point guards in this class. I think his just the pace that he plays with is very impressive for someone his age, and I think he does a great job just reading the court overall. Great transition passer, does a good job, getting the ball up ahead to his teammates that are trailing ahead of him, and he's just a very overall impressive guard on both sides of the floor. The only reason why I have Anthony Black this low is just because of the jump shot and the on-ball creation. I feel like it is going to be a bit of a work in progress with his jump shot. He kind of has like a bit of this stationary hitch to the point where I question whether or not he's going to be able to knock down shots off the dribble consistently. But if he can do that, he's definitely going to rise on my big board. And overall, I'm expecting a very good season this year from Anthony Black, playing alongside Nick Smith and Jordan Walsh. Coming in at number 19, I have Duke center/big man Dereck Lively. Now, Dereck Lively is a prospect that I really like. I think he has some very intriguing parts to his game. Just with his versatility on the defensive side of the floor is very impressive considering his height. He's 7'1", 215 pounds. Has a bit of weight on him compared to most of these modern centers coming out of the draft. And also has a 7'7" wingspan. I mean, that's just impressive outright. And I think he's very mobile on the defensive side of the floor. I think he has quick feet. He's not going to stay in front of all guards, right? But he can handle guards occasionally when he is switched out onto them on the perimeter, which is a very intriguing part of his game. I think has a little bit of room to grow as a rim protector, but I like the versatility that he's shown overall on the defensive side of the floor. And I think the offensive game is a bit of a work in progress. However, he is going to be a plus rim runner for Duke this upcoming season. And again, just with his upside on the defensive side of the floor combined with what you're going to get out of him on the offensive side of the floor, this long, wiry plus rim runner, I feel like Dereck Lively is a prospect that could potentially really rise not only on my big board but on the overall consensus big board come draft day. Coming in at number 16, I have Creighton wing/forward Arthur Kaluma. Arthur Kaluma is a very interesting and intriguing prospect. I think he's one of the best returning prospects for this upcoming college season. Great size, stands at about 6'7", weighs about 220 pounds, and has a 7-foot wingspan, so, plus physical profile. Awesome on the defensive side of the floor, especially on ball. Takes advantage of his physical tools. He has quick feet, able to stay in front of a lot of guards, and wings, very versatile on-ball defender. I think the off-ball defense is a bit of a work in progress, but, just what he's shown on ball, you really like to see it, and I think that's an area where he will grow this upcoming season. The one thing about Arthur Kaluma is just the shooting, and the percentages weren't great last season. He shot almost sub 30% from three. However, from what he's shown in the NCAA tournament, as well as what he's shown in FIBA, playing for the Ugandan national team during this summer, I'm really intrigued by Arthur Kaluma, and I think if that jump shot takes a leap, which I'm expecting it to, I think he has a clear path to being a first-round pick in this upcoming draft. Moving on to number 15 on my big board, I do have South Carolina big man G.G. Jackson. Now, G.G. Jackson is a very interesting prospect. Was supposed to be a senior this upcoming season and was committed to UNC. However, he decided to not only decommit from UNC and commit to South Carolina, but also decided to reclassify and skip his senior year, being a freshman this upcoming season. Now, G.G. Jackson has elite physical traits. He's going to be 19 years old by the time draft comes around. Stands at about 6 feet 9 inches, weighs about 210 pounds, and has a 6'10" wingspan. The wingspan isn't great, but when you just see him out there, when you see his tape from this previous season, he's just a man amongst boys out there. And the one thing about G.G. Jackson for me, you see some of the perimeter skills, right? Some of the ball handling flashes itself at times in the jump shot. I think he's going to be fine on the defensive side of the floor. I think he's going to be, as you just saw there, a weak side rim protector. Has shown some chops as being able to play on ball. But the thing with me with G.G. Jackson, the reason why I don't have him higher is just he's much more of a true big man to me. Again, he's shown flashes of being able to handle the ball and whatnot, but most of the time he was used, as the screen setter in pick and roll situations. And as you saw there, he flashes some of the ball handling and the shot creation. However, I think he's going to play more so of a big man, which is fine. But if he can if he can display more of that shot creation and more of that ball handling this upcoming season at South Carolina, then I think he's definitely a great candidate to move up higher on my big board. Finally, we have reached the lottery section of my big board, and at number 14, we have Florida State wing/forward Baba Miller. Now, Baba Miller is a very interesting prospect considering the fact that he was an international player his entire career, played in the EuroLeague with Real Madrid the past 2-ish seasons. However, he decided to come to the States and play for FSU this upcoming season, which was a very interesting choice for him. We'll see how he plays. However, I really like his skill set. Stands at about 6'11", weighs about 205 pounds, and has a 7-foot 1-inch wingspan. Just with those traits alone and just the skill that he has on the offensive side of the floor, he's a good slasher, as you see here. Nice, decent touch with the right hand. I think, again, he's a bit raw, but just with the traits that he has shown on the offensive side of the floor, again, he's just a 6'11" point guard. He's brought the ball up for his team, for his Real Madrid team. Was playmaking, was a threat in transition, does a great job hitting cutters, very solid defensively. Again, the shot is a bit of a question mark. However, overall, I really like the traits that he's shown. When you get a player with that height, with some of those innate skills that he has shown, it's hard to not be a fan of him, and I expect him to be a riser or a player that most people have their eyes on for this upcoming draft process. Moving on to number 13, I have Oregon center KEL'EL WARE. Now, KEL'EL WARE is a prospect that I really like. In my opinion, he's my second favorite center in this class. Stands at about 7 feet, weighs about 200 pounds, and has a 7-foot 4-inch wingspan. Dominated the high school scene with Nick Smith. When you have the best point guard and the best best senior center and point guard duo in the country, that's just hard to beat. Obviously, they just steamrolled through Arkansas basketball. However, he's a great prospect in his own right. Has shown some shooting upside. Good rim runner, as you see here, just with his overwhelming size. Solid on the offensive boards. I think the touch in the post is a bit of a work in progress. However, he's shown flashes, as you just saw there, with that little teardrop. And defensively, he's shown real upside as a rim protector, and he's much more of a traditional big than Dereck Lively, and in that sense, I like him a little bit more. I think he's going to be the better prospect than Dereck Lively, or the better player right now, but I think Dereck Lively, you can argue, has higher upside, but as of right now, I'm leaning towards KEL'EL WARE being the second best center in this draft class. Coming in at number 12, I have overtime elite guard slash wing AUSAR Thompson. Now, AUSAR Thompson is a prospect that I'm definitely lower on than the consensus, but don't get me wrong. I mean, him and his brother are just special athletes. You know, I don't really know if I've even seen players at that height, with that fluidity, with that vertical. You know, it's just special. They're both uber tier athletes, and I think AUSAR has shown some upside defensively, you know, especially with his traits. You know, 6'7", weighs about 205 pounds, has a 6'10" wingspan. I mean, he has traits defensively. I think the off-ball defense is a bit of a mess right now. I think that's definitely going to need to improve. But what he's shown on ball, you know, he's shown some upside in terms of, you know, with the quickness of his feet, you know, with his hands. I like what I've seen a little bit there, and then as well as on the offensive side of the floor with some of his playmaking. But I think that's about it. Where in terms of things that I like about his game, I mean, the jump shot is just such a question. You know, the form just needs so much work. I mean, again, what I stated with the off-ball defense is a huge work in progress. And then, you know, with the handle overall, I mean, I know he has a smooth handle compared to a lot of these overtime players, but you know, how high is this level of competition? And I just really worry that by the time they get to the league, really both him and his brother, you know, how behind the A-ball are they going to be compared to, you know, their draft peers, right? You know, we saw it with G Montero. You know, I was at Vegas for summer league. I saw G Montero look really lost off ball, and I see some of those same weaknesses or some of those same flaws in his game. I kind of see it with the Thompson twins a little bit, where they're just so undisciplined, and I just worry, you know, how far behind the A-ball are they going to be by the time the draft time comes around? And I guess that's going to be something that we're just going to have to wait till summer league and eventually their rookie season to see. However, you know, the Thompson twins, I'm a little bit lower on them than the consensus, but I still like them as prospects. To round off the second part of my 2023 Big Board 1.0, I have Texas wing slash forward Dillion Mitchell. Now, Dillion Mitchell is a prospect that I really like. He might be the best overall athlete in this class. You know, he's in that Thompson. He's in the tier with the Thompson twins. You know, with his size, you know, 6'11", right around 200 pounds, has a 7-foot wingspan. Just a incredible vertical athlete. I mean, he just hops off the ground, and he just makes it look so effortless. Such a quick athlete, great quick feet, you know, quick choppy movements. I mean, Dillion Mitchell is just such an incredible athlete, and he really utilizes that on the defensive side of the floor with his weak side rim protection. He utilizes his length and his quick feet on ball, you know, being able to guard multiple positions on ball, and I think he's a much better help defender than AUSAR Thompson right now. And on the offensive side of the floor, I just love Dillion Mitchell as a cutter. I mean, in Montverde, he was able to thrive off ball, you know, playing off the likes of, you know, DERECK, Whitehead, KJ Evans, you know, Jalen Hood-Schifino. You know, he had players that allowed him to really show off his strengths and really thrive as an off-ball player, specifically as a cutter. And I feel like that's going to stay the same at the NBA level. You know, all these traits are going to carry over, and that part of his skill set isn't something that, you know, just not going to work at the NBA level, right? So I feel like that's definitely going to translate. And then the shooting is a big question mark. His three-point shooting, however, he's shown off his mid-range prowess. You know, the form looks nice from mid-range, has soft touch, solid mechanics from mid-range. I think getting his shooting hand up a little higher will really help his jump shot. He reminds me a lot of Marjon Buchanan from last year's draft cycle in terms of, you know, just their overall prospects, right? This two-way, great cutting, 6'7" wings. You know, kind of have that mid-range shot, but the three-point shot is a bit of a question, right? You know, so he kind of reminds me of Marjon in that aspect, but he's a player that I really like, and I expect him to have a great season this upcoming college season for Texas. And that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about the video in the comment section down below. Do you guys think I was too high on certain guys, too low on certain guys? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And again, aside from that, that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, please share the video with a friend. I want to keep growing the channel, keep growing the community that we have here. And again, aside from that, that's the end of the video, guys. The final part of my big board covering prospects 10 through 1 will be next week, so stay on the lookout for that. And yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. So again, thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day and take care. Peace.